Well, welcome everybody. Don't stand over there, come on in. Matt, I'm eyeballing you. Come on guys, come on in. Now, I want to welcome everybody to 2025 Covering Show. And thank you guys for attending. So one of the biggest things were we came to this covering show probably for over 30 years. And every time you come to these shows, you try to figure out, well, I need to see something that's new and innovative. You search around, you try to see exactly what you can use within your systems. So today, we're going to take a little journey as we talk about covering all of our bases. As we go through this process, we wanted to give you just a brief history of what you may know and have knowledge of. One of the things that we talk about is back in the day, we used to use mud. We mudded everything, water in, water out system on a 3-piece clamping ring drain. As time went on, Noble came out as an innovator with ProBase. The very first one was all honeycomb. A little over-engineered, and I know I'll get hit for that one, but it was a very good base. And the biggest compliment to us was when people tried to copy the system, and they made foam bases. So you see foam bases all over. They're made out of EPS or XPS foam, extruded polystyrene or expanded polystyrene. Now the only issue with that is a compression issue. It could be about 40 pounds PSI to about 80 pounds PSI. So Noble, being the innovators that they are, they took that same kind of thought process of ProBase. They made ProBase 2. And we're going to go through some of the things that we did to improve the systems. And we're going to talk about the strengths. We're going to talk about the performances. We're going to talk about a little bit on what we're going to be going through here. On stage, we have Kurt Hogeboom from our corporate office and Nate Johnson. They're going to be helping me through this process. Now, as we go through, what's that? Did you say something? Oh, sorry. I thought I heard something. I'm getting that feedback because I'm too close to these speakers. So as we go through this process, we're going to go and talk about what we did different. On the ProBase 2 systems, we're going to start with our first ProBase system. They come in 3 different ways. The guys are going to start installing our typical Noble ProBase system with a thin bed drain. There's 3 different types of bases that are out there that we make. One is foam with waterproofing on it. We make a honeycomb only, and then we make one with foam, honeycomb, and pre-waterproofed. This is really important to know because as we go through this process, you guys are going to see the performance differences. If you look at it, you say, well, why didn't you just do what everybody else did? We wanted to give the installers who mudded a pan a little bit more compressive strength. So where we had the 40 to 80 PSI, now it's 235 PSI with the honeycomb. That gives you a lot more on that base. So now you can put a base in that actually has the compressive strength that you need for smaller format tiles. Now what does that mean? Well, for a designer, it gives them the freedom to put whatever mosaics they want to put on it, small format tile, pebbles, micro mosaics. It opens up the windows for all these individuals. For the installer, they have the comfort level knowing that what they put in, they're not going to get a call back because things are popping off the base. For the customer, they know it's a sustainable installation that will last the design that they're looking for. So right now, the guys put in the thin bed drain. And what's interesting about this drain, I have one up here. The body of it allows you to go down to 1/4 of an inch if necessary. So if there were some thinner tiles, you don't have to float up. You know that's a real pain as you have some 3-piece clamping rings that go only so far down. This will go all the way down to 1/4 of an inch. What we did differently in the clamping ring, as you can see here, is the most robust connection. Right here, there's a clamping ring. That membrane goes right underneath, as you see here. They put that, if they had 250 seal in, it would have went on first before the membrane and the clamping ring on top. There's no weep holes on this clamping ring. We have actually weep channels on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's weep channels in here, which increases the flow of water in that drain. As they put this together, I'll hand this out so you guys can feel it, touch it. So as they go through this system, if you were using one of these particular pans, and let's say it's slightly larger, the area, or slightly smaller and the pan's a little bit larger, it could be field cut with a utility knife. We have standard sizes. A 32 by 60 is going to have an end drain or center drain. We have a 38 by 38, we have a 48 by 48, a 48 by 72, and then a 72 by 72. And then those are just for the point drains. And for, she's filming. And then for our single slope drains, we actually have a 32 by 60 and a 64 by 64. These are for single slope drains. We're going to show you that in a little bit as they go through the process. But it's that easy. What happens typically when you're doing a mudded pan, you have to pre-slope the floor. You have to wait for that to dry, unless you're using our Pro Slope. Then you have to put your pan liner down, do a flood test, 2 inches, 24 hours, or whatever dictates within your area. Then you have your mud that goes in after that. You got to wait for that to dry. Then you put your tile in, wait for that to dry, and then you put your grout. So you're looking at a 4 to 5 day process on a pan, right? This one, we can actually have it in within 20, 30 minutes if you take a coffee break, and then you let it dry. If you put the EXT glue on the floor and you put your pan on top, you can put it in. You can flood test the same day. Within an hour, you can do your flood test. That means that following day, you're installing tile and you're grouting right after that. So that shows you how much time this system saves, 2 to 3 days of an installation. Now we're going to go and show you guys, this is a clamping ring, typical clamping ring drain. We're going to show you what we made for the clamping ring drain. Now typically there is a height difference at the bottom. This is an SD, what we call a Noble Flex SD. And what this would do, you can put this down with on the system, and then you can mud to it, or you can use a Pro Base 2 to it, and it brings it right to this drain so it can fit that drain. And we make these, after he puts it in, you'll see the next portion of that base go over the top of it. Now this makes it very easy for the installer. What we tried to do was answer the questions and answer the needs of that installer. What do they need in the industry? So we started to come out with all these different systems. And what Kurt just did, he makes a little X on top, and it works like a button. So as he makes his little mark, he'll just put a button, and it'll pop right through, and then he just cuts the center hole and avoids cutting his finger, which we are very happy about. Nate slips on the ring, they tighten it, and then they're ready for the base. And it's that easy. So those who do installations understand how long this process would be if you were mudding a pan. This is cutting the time down tremendously. This pan, can you show them the bottom side real quick? Bottom side is designed to fit that SD, and it has a shingle overlap on it. So now he puts a 250 sealant on there. He puts this base on top. Go ahead. And it fits like a glove. And then they're able to put it in place. And now they're ready to put a positive weed protector, and they address that center section like they would on a mudded pan with that drain, okay? Let's go to the next one. On the next one, we're showing you all the different bases that we have. Obviously, if you want to see these bases, we're only that way, about one more row and to your left, booth 4229, come and see us. We have a lot to see. There's also custom bases that we make. One of them that we have over there this year is a round one, a round base. So you can go and see an actual installation of the round base that we have in our booth. These bases are phenomenal. Anybody who's used them, they understand how fast they can be installed. You can put the base down with thin set, but you want to wait 24 hours so that you allow the thin set to dry. EXT, you can get on it immediately. That's the difference between these two. Now, as we go through this process, this is showing a bonded flange. Now, the bonded flange is very popular. We were just talking about it before we were with the meeting. So now, instead of us trying to invent a bonded flange where everybody loves everybody else's bonded flange, we have a base that actually fits. Now, what the guys did, if you see this little donut, it comes with the system. Whoops, sorry, thank you. And this little donut goes underneath that bonded flange to give that edge of more support. And when you put that down, maybe afterward, if you guys want to come up and feel it, if you want to come up right now, you can push on that edge and you can see how stout it is. Then that goes around the bonded flange, it's ready to go. It's as simple as that. The bottom side, can you see the bottom side of this? Now we will fit it to, on our custom base, you'll see it'll ask you what drain you're using. You tell us what it is, and we cut that to the size of that bonded flange. And then this little donut will come with it. Thank you. Last but not least, we have the linear drain. Now, everybody knows about a single slope linear drain. We also make a multi-slope linear drain. So let's say they have a linear drain in place that is a 2-foot linear drain, and there's an issue where you can't move it where you want it. Let's say it's by the front of the shower. Now, those who have been to our booth, if you haven't been to our booth, we're right over there at 4229. This is the freestyle linear drain. I know it looks like a weapon because you probably beat somebody over the head with it, but it's a solid piece of PVC or ABS. And what it does, if you look at the bottom side, it connects, the pipe connects directly to it. There's no Fernco fittings, there's nothing to it. You can install it on the surface like this, or you can actually install it recessed. So as they do the installation, you'll notice that this is not like most trough drains. You see the pre-pitching on the interior. And the reason for that is if you have something where there's water that comes toward the front of that drain, what is the typical gallons per minute a linear drain would do in our industry? About 3 to 5 GPMs, right? Our drain, the 2-foot linear drain, a freestyle linear drain, does 36 GPM. It's independently tested. We have all the test results. So that means if you have multiple shower heads or you have it in a location where it's critical by the front of your shower, water will not go into your dry space. That's very important. So as you see, they did this installation. This is a multi-slope, like an envelope cut right here and here. It goes down to this drain. We make these. We are a U.S. company. All of our stuff is made in Baton Rouge. Our sheet membranes are made in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and all of our bases, our benches, our niches, all of that is made up in Michigan, Spring Lake, Michigan. So I invite you all to come by the booth, and once again, you can see everything there about what we do as far as the efforts we have taken through the years to become who we are today. We've been around for 78 years. Says a little something about a waterproofing company, but we do it right. So once they put their clamping ring, anybody who's ever worked on a car probably think we're doing it, putting a head gasket in. That's really what it looks like. You put in a head gasket in, there's a sealant underneath it, it goes down on top of it. That then gets cut out in the center, and they're ready to rock and roll for the flood test. You don't need a couple screws. Yep. Nah, you don't need to cut it. So does anybody have any questions so far? No questions? Great, you're intrigued. I love it. So one of the compression tests that I wanted to talk about when we talked about some of the ball drop tests is called ASTM D5420. And it's a big stainless steel ball. They held it up it goes into a system of 3 feet in the air, and you can see the test running in our booth, and it gets dropped on a base. It is a pass or fail. If it dents, it fails. So what happens in the field is we found out the guys were doing the installation of these bases, and they were kneeling on them, and they would have a bird bath. Or somebody would put a ladder in there after the fact when the guy did all his hard work, and they dent the pan, okay, if it's not protected. But with the honeycomb, and it passes that test of the ASTM test, we found out that there's no dents whatsoever that can be found on a pan, and it goes in successfully without any bird baths. At this point, that's all of our pans. We've covered all of the different types of pans that we make and how it fits with all the different systems out there. Does anybody have any questions? 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 None? 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 Easy peasy. Well, thank you all for joining us this year. Please come to our booth, 4229, located just to the left over there, and we will welcome any questions and show you anything that we have in the booth to answer any of your interests. Thank you very much.